Why do we chase after fleeting dreams only to realize that the joy they bring is as transient as morning dew? Imagine holding sand in your palm. It slips through your fingers no matter how tightly you grip. Life, too, is like this, impermanent and ever-changing. In the vast expanse of the ocean, every drop of water contributes to its immensity. Consider how each drop is insignificant on its own, yet together they create waves that shape the shoreline, carrying whispers of the Earth's mysteries. This is the power of unity, a principle reflected in every corner of existence, from the simplest creatures to the grandest galaxies. In life, there are three profound truths, simple yet transformative, that can anchor us amid the turbulence: an expansive heart, gentle words, and a compassionate spirit devoted to serving others. Imagine the vast ocean as the heart, boundless, deep, and inclusive of all life forms. Within this expanse, the waves speak in whispers, mirroring the power of kind and gentle words that calm storms of misunderstanding. And like the ocean's currents, unseen but vital, a compassionate spirit quietly supports the delicate balance of life, carrying hope and nourishment to every shore. These three truths form the foundation of a harmonious existence, one that transcends the dualities of wealth and poverty, joy and sorrow. Life is neither defined by what we possess nor what we lack, but by the connections we nurture. When we approach others with an open heart, speak with kindness, and act with compassion, we dissolve the barriers that separate us and reveal the shared humanity that binds us all. The Buddha once taught his disciples, "Do not blindly believe my words. Only through personal reflection, careful analysis, and practical application can one confirm the truth." These words carry an enduring resonance, reminding us that wisdom is not something to be borrowed or inherited. It is to be cultivated through experience. Imagine a seeker in the forest, observing a tree's life cycle. The leaves fall, the branches grow, and in time, the tree returns to the earth. From this decay, new life emerges. This endless cycle mirrors the impermanence that governs all existence: birth and death, rise and fall, gain and loss. It is a rhythm that we cannot escape, but must embrace to truly live. Yet, the path to liberation requires more than passive acceptance. It demands an active engagement with life's impermanence. The Buddha's teachings encourage us to question everything, even the most sacred of beliefs. Examine the leaf, he might say. Feel its texture, observe its veins, and understand its role in the greater whole. Only then can you truly know its essence. Through this lens, impermanence is not a source of despair, but a reminder of life's preciousness. To live fully is to acknowledge that everything, our joys, our sorrows, our very existence, is fleeting. In this acknowledgement lies the courage to let go of what binds us, to seek the truth within ourselves, and to move forward unburdened by fear of loss. It is this understanding that lights the path to freedom. Imagine holding a mango seed in your hand. To the untrained eye, it is just a small, hard object. But plant it in fertile soil, nurture it with water and sunlight, and in time it grows into a tree, bearing countless fruits. Each mango it produces contains the potential for countless more trees. The seed is not the tree, and yet without the seed, there is no tree. This paradox mirrors the cycles of life and existence, an eternal flow where no single stage stands alone, yet all are interconnected. The Buddha illustrated this concept with simplicity and clarity. He spoke of how life flows, like a river that never stops, always moving forward. While each moment is unique, it is inextricably linked to the one before it and the one that follows. This connection between moments is what allows us to find meaning in change, even when it feels disruptive. Liberation comes not from clinging to any single stage of this cycle, but from embracing the impermanence that governs it. To do so requires the courage to let go of what we cannot control and to find peace in the flow. Like the mango seed that grows into a tree and bears fruit, our actions in this moment plant seeds for the future. What we choose to cultivate, kindness, wisdom, or bitterness, determines the harvest we will one day reap. The Buddha reminded his disciples that true freedom lies in this understanding. The river flows, he would say, whether we try to stop it or not. Do not waste your energy resisting its current. Instead, learn to flow with it, and you will find peace. In accepting impermanence, we find a paradoxical permanence, the unchanging truth that change is the essence of life itself. All life is suffering, declared the Buddha. At first, this might sound harsh, even pessimistic, but to truly understand this teaching is to see it not as a lament, but as a doorway to freedom. The suffering he speaks of is not just physical pain or hardship. It is the discomfort we feel when we resist the natural flow of life, when we cling to fleeting joys or fight against inevitable losses. Imagine holding a flame in your hand. It flickers and dances, beautiful but impossible to grasp. Try to hold on to it, and it will burn you. This is the nature of life, beautiful, precious, but ultimately impermanent. Suffering arises when we try to possess it, refusing to let go when the time comes. The Buddha taught that understanding suffering is the first step toward transcending it. To end suffering, he said, we must first recognize its causes. Greed, anger, and ignorance are the roots of our pain, binding us to a cycle of dissatisfaction. But with this awareness comes the power to break free. By cultivating wisdom and compassion, we can transform our relationship with suffering, seeing it not as an enemy, but as a teacher. The path to freedom, as the Buddha explained, is like climbing a steep mountain. Each step requires effort, courage, and perseverance. But as we ascend, the view becomes clearer, and the burden of suffering grows lighter. At the summit, we find not an absence of struggle, but a profound peace that comes from understanding its purpose. To those who questioned whether this path was too difficult, the Buddha responded with encouragement. Do not fear the journey. Even the smallest step toward truth is a victory over suffering. Walk the path with courage, and you will discover that the joy of liberation far outweighs the pain of the climb. The Buddha's teachings on non-violence reveal a timeless truth. Love has the power to dissolve even the most deep-seated animosities. He once asked his disciples, "What is stronger, the hand that strikes or the heart that forgives?" The answer, he explained, lies in understanding the shared fears and desires of all beings. Violence stems from fear, and fear arises from ignorance. To overcome violence, we must replace fear with understanding and ignorance with wisdom. Imagine a small bird trapped in a storm, its wings battered by relentless winds. The storm is the violence of the world, chaotic and destructive. But what if, instead of striking out against the storm, we create a safe shelter, a haven of peace? This is the transformative power of compassion. It does not fight the storm, but offers an alternative, a calm within the chaos. The Buddha taught that violence cannot be eradicated through force. Anger begets anger, and hatred breeds hatred, he said. But love is the seed that grows peace. Non-violence is not weakness, it is the ultimate form of strength. It requires the courage to lay down weapons, both physical and emotional, and to embrace the vulnerability of kindness. He shared a poignant metaphor. The night is long for those who cannot sleep, just as life is long and burdensome for those who live in ignorance of the truth. But even the longest night gives way to dawn. In the same way, a world steeped in violence can be transformed through the light of understanding and compassion. By recognizing that all beings fear death and cherish life, we naturally loosen our grip on anger and begin to extend the hand of peace. In the sanctuary of a home, the bonds of love and respect are the foundation of happiness. The Buddha emphasized that in marriage, equality and mutual understanding are not just virtues, but necessities. A family where husband and wife treat each other as equals is a family that thrives, he said. Their love becomes a wellspring of joy, nourishing not only themselves, but everyone around them. Imagine two people rowing a boat across a river. If they row in harmony, the boat glides smoothly, reaching the far shore with ease. But if one rows harder than the other, or in the opposite direction, the boat spins in circles, caught in the current. Marriage, the Buddha explained, is like this boat. It requires both partners to work together, respecting each other's strengths and compensating for weaknesses. True harmony in marriage goes beyond the physical and material. It is a spiritual partnership, a union of two souls striving for a common purpose. The Buddha taught that the husband should honor his wife, treating her not as a subordinate, but as an equal, worthy of dignity and respect. In turn, the wife should view her husband as a partner, sharing in the responsibilities of life with love and understanding. Love is not possession, the Buddha reminded his followers. It is a mutual offering of oneself to another. A husband who respects his wife's dreams and a wife who cherishes her husband's aspirations create a bond that is unbreakable. This union, rooted in compassion and equality, becomes a beacon of stability and warmth, radiating joy to their children, their community, and the world at large. Through this wisdom, the Buddha gave practical guidance for navigating the challenges of married life. He spoke of the importance of small gestures, listening attentively, sharing burdens, and offering words of encouragement. These simple acts, he explained, are like drops of water that over time fill a jar. Together, they create a reservoir of love and trust, sustaining the family through life's inevitable storms. Every morning, the world awakens with the promise of a new day. Yet how often do we pause to express gratitude for its gifts? The Buddha taught that gratitude is not merely a fleeting feeling, but a transformative practice, a way of living that reshapes our perspective and deepens our connection to the world. Consider the air you breathe, he said. It fills your lungs without asking for anything in return. The water you drink flows from rivers and rain, nourishing your body. The sun rises each day, warming the earth and lighting your path. These are not possessions, they are gifts. To acknowledge these gifts is to live in harmony with the world, embracing a profound sense of humility and interconnectedness. Gratitude, the Buddha explained, has the power to turn even the simplest moments into profound experiences. Imagine a farmer planting seeds in his field. With each seed, he whispers a silent thanks to the soil, the rain, and the sun. This gratitude not only sustains his spirit, but also inspires him to care for his crops with love and diligence. In the same way, when we approach life with gratitude, our actions become more mindful, our hearts more open. But gratitude is not only about recognizing what we have, it is also about finding peace with what we lack. A grateful heart does not dwell on what is missing, the Buddha taught. It rejoices in what is present. To practice gratitude is to see beauty in a single flower, joy in a child's laughter, and meaning in life's simplest tasks. The Buddha's teachings on gratitude encourage us to shift our focus from what we wish to gain to what we can give. Share your blessings, he urged. In giving, you create abundance. Like a candle that lights another without diminishing its own flame, gratitude grows stronger when shared. By living in gratitude, we cultivate a life filled with joy, contentment, and a deep appreciation for the interconnected web of existence. The Buddha's teachings on ignorance and delusion are profound, shedding light on the roots of human suffering. Ignorance, he said, is the darkness that clouds our understanding, leading us into cycles of pain and dissatisfaction. But just as a single lamp can illuminate an entire room, wisdom has the power to dispel even the deepest shadows. Imagine a traveler lost in a dense forest. The path ahead is obscured by overgrown branches, and every step feels uncertain. This is the plight of those who live in ignorance, unable to see the truth of their existence. Yet, with the guidance of the Noble Eightfold Path, the traveler finds a map, a light to guide them out of the forest and into the clarity of an open meadow. The Buddha explained that the roots of ignorance are found in our attachment to fleeting desires and our aversion to life's challenges. These attachments bind us, much like a bird caught in a net, unable to fly freely. But the Noble Eightfold Path, right view, intention, speech, action, livelihood, effort, mindfulness, and concentration, provides the tools to untangle these bindings and set us free. Each step of the path builds upon the other, creating a harmonious balance between thought, word, and deed. Right view, the Buddha said, is like the foundation of a house. Without it, the structure cannot stand. With right view comes right intention, the resolve to act with kindness and wisdom. From intention flows right speech, the words that heal rather than harm. The path continues, weaving together all aspects of life into a cohesive practice that leads to liberation. Through mindfulness, we learn to observe our thoughts without judgment, recognizing them as transient and impermanent. And through concentration, we cultivate the stillness needed to see the truth clearly. The Buddha's teachings remind us that enlightenment is not a distant goal, but a journey made one mindful step at a time. As we walk this path, we come to see that ignorance is not an enemy, but an opportunity. It is the beginning of our search for truth, the first step toward wisdom. By embracing the path with courage and determination, we transform ignorance into understanding, delusion into clarity, and suffering into serenity. Death has long been a source of fear and uncertainty, yet the Buddha taught that it is not an end, but a continuation. The body may perish, he said, but the essence of our actions lives on, shaping the cycles to come. This perspective transforms death from a source of despair into a reminder of life's profound interconnectedness. Imagine a stone dropped into a still pond. The ripples expand outward, touching every corner of the water's surface. In the same way, our actions, both kind and cruel, create ripples that influence not only our own lives, but also the lives of others. These ripples do not end when the stone sinks. Their effects continue long after the initial act. The Buddha used a powerful analogy to explain this. Consider the oil that rises to the surface of water. It is distinct and unchanging in its nature. Likewise, good deeds elevate the soul, transcending the boundaries of life and death. In this way, the seeds we plant through our actions determine the harvest we reap, not only in this life, but in countless lifetimes to come. He encouraged his disciples to approach death not with fear, but with acceptance. Do not cling to the fleeting, he advised. Instead, focus on the timeless truths that guide us beyond this transient existence. By living with integrity, kindness, and wisdom, we prepare not only for this life, but for the journeys yet to come. The understanding that life and death are part of an eternal cycle allows us to embrace the present moment with greater clarity. It reminds us that each act of love, each gesture of compassion, and each moment of mindfulness carries weight far beyond what we can see. In this, we find the courage to live fully and without regret, knowing that the ripples we create will carry our legacy forward. The Buddha's final counsel to his disciples is as relevant today as it was centuries ago. Be a light unto yourselves, seek refuge in your own hearts, and live the Dharma. These words are a call to action, urging us to take responsibility for our own spiritual growth and to find strength within ourselves rather than seeking it from external sources. Impermanence surrounds us, the Buddha explained. Everything changes, our bodies, our relationships, even the mountains and rivers. But within this ever-changing world lies a constant, the truth within your own heart. This truth, he taught, is the key to liberation, and it is found not by looking outward, but by turning inward. He encouraged his disciples to cultivate mindfulness, to observe their thoughts and actions without judgment. Your mind is like a garden, he said. With care and attention, you can grow flowers of compassion and wisdom. But if left untended, weeds of anger and ignorance will take root. By practicing mindfulness, we become aware of these weeds and learn to remove them, creating a space where peace and clarity can flourish. The Buddha also emphasized the importance of perseverance. The path is not always easy, he admitted, but each step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to freedom. He likened the journey to climbing a mountain, where the ascent is steep and tiring, but the view from the top makes every effort worthwhile. To live the Dharma, the Buddha taught, is to align our actions with the principles of compassion, wisdom, and truth. It is to treat every moment as an opportunity to grow, every challenge as a lesson, and every interaction as a chance to uplift others. Do not underestimate the power of a single kind word or a single act of generosity, he said. These are the seeds of enlightenment. In his final moments, the Buddha reminded his disciples that the ultimate truth is not found in rituals or scriptures, but in the way we live. All things are impermanent, he said. Rely on your own understanding and let the light of your wisdom guide you through the changing tides of life. With this, he left them not with sorrow, but with a legacy of hope, urging them to carry the torch of his teachings into the future. Life is fleeting, like a melody that lingers in the air before fading. Yet within its brevity lies boundless potential. Embrace each moment as it comes, not clinging to the past, nor fearing the future. For in the dance of impermanence, we find the eternal rhythm of truth.